You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
He would have done a great job. A tremendous heart. These are all false accusations that were made. These are false. They're trying to destroy a man.
So much for the best and brightest. President Trump picks for the VA bows out amid allegations and questions whether he is qualified, and the president's attorney pleading the fifth. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the week in Washington in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7. And we begin tonight with a Super Bowl champion speaking up for his high school coach. Venice High School football coach John Peacock was fired this week, just months after the Indians won the state championship. Peacock was dismissed after he liked a tweet from one of his players that made fun of the Braden River football coach. Some viewed the tweet as racist. One of Peacock's former players is Trey Burton. He now plays in the NFL and helped lead the Philadelphia Eagles to their first Super Bowl championship when they defeated the New England Patriots just a few months ago. And Trey Burton joins us now by Skype from Tampa to discuss the firing of his former coach. Trey, thanks for joining us. Why do you feel compelled to weigh in defense of your former high school coach?
Oh, man, there's many reasons. I would say probably the first thing that comes to my mind is just for all the help that he's given the players at Venice High School, especially. I mean, I'm multiracial. My brother's multiracial, and I think I'd probably say I'm one of the players that's around him the most. And I would never in my life say that he is a racist or has said anything racially divisive or anything like that. So I wanted to make sure that people, heard, at least from me, that there's no doubt in my mind that he did not mean any of the tweets or liking or whatever the deal was for to be racist.
Do you think this whole thing has been blown out of proportion?
Yeah, I think this is something that has developed over a year or two. I don't think just because of this tweet or him liking the tweet or whatever it was that they fired him. And I think that there's a couple, people higher up who kind of wanted to see him out. And the easiest way they could possibly do it is by this.
Do you have any idea why that was?
Why? What was?
Why people higher up wanted to see Coach Peacock out?
No, I'm not too sure. I mean, I don't know how his daily relationships are with people, but I know, from being around him a lot, he's not the easiest person to talk to or get along with, just because he's so goal oriented, and he loves football and loves coaching these kids, helping them mature. So I don't know, that far. I just know that it just doesn't seem right that over him liking something on social media, they fire him.
It was just a couple of years ago, you were playing high school football around here. It seems that the rivalries and are so intense around here, not only from players from each team, but also from the coach. Is it, in your opinion, too over the top?
No, I would never say it's too over the top. From what I understand, something happened, with Braden River, and they were cheating and they were practicing when they shouldn't have been practicing. And, the coach obviously didn't like that. And so, but whenever you do illegal stuff like that, it's going to come to light, and you can't mess around and cheat. There's too many phones and cameras and things like that going around to really be messing around with cheating. But no, I don't think they're too crazy. I mean, when I was in high school, my biggest rival was Manatee, and it was never too crazy.
Is there a lesson to be learned here either way, whether you play high school football or play in the NFL, that in this day and age you got to be really careful about what you do with social media?
Yeah, I mean, not just social media, anything you do. That's one of the first speeches you get in college and in the NFL when you first arrive, is that everything you do, whether it's saved, whether it's deleted, if you put it out there, it's gonna be out there and someone will find a way to get it back. So it's definitely something that you got to be aware of and you got to be smart about.
And finally, if there's one thing you could say to administrators here in Sarasota County about your coach, if you want to implore them to reverse their decision or say anything, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I highly doubt that they'll reverse their decision because it would look absolutely horrible, on their side. But I think it's a big mistake. I think something needs to be reconsidered. And obviously, I hate seeing this just for John and just for how much I know he loves football and how much I know he cares for not just loves football but cares for these kids. There's like I said, there has never been one instance where I would even think of him making a racist comment or racist remark. He's actually one of the most loving coaches for the minority community that there is. And so I just really hope that they don't make this mistake again, and I hope that they can figure something out with him. And but this toughest part about all of it is that he is going to be labeled as a racist now just because of all of this, and I think that's it's horrible.
Okay, Trey Burton, thank you very much for joining us today, and good luck next season.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Joining us now for his first interview since being fired earlier this week is the former Venice coach, John Peacock. Coach Peacock, thanks for joining us tonight. You heard what Trey Burton had to say. You heard from a friend of yours last night on this broadcast. Number one, I would imagine that your spirits are buoyed by the support you have from your former players and coaches. Coach, go ahead.
It's been a whirlwind the last couple of days. Been very emotional, and finally been able to talk about it today and not be able to be so emotional and break down and talk about it. But I'd like to apologize to Coach Bradley. I made a very poor decision and set a bad example, and I'd like to explain that the tweet and the like was an attempt to tease him about using a beauty product, not a race. That never entered my player's mind. And I feel horrible that Coach Bradley took it that way. And it's important to me that Coach Bradley accepts my sincerity, and I can assure you that race was never a part of it, nor would I condone or tolerate such behavior by one of my players, my family members, or a friend. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Bradley and the program he's built, and they're always our toughest competition, and I hope Braden River and Venice can continue to have a healthy competition moving forward. And I'm truly sorry for all parties involved that had to go through this because it affects a lot of people.
Coach, a lot of people have talked about and have been wondering about whether you were dismissed for this and this alone, or were there other things, other issues that were leading up to this?
I can't comment on that. I wasn't the one doing the firing, and I really can't comment on that. I just, the important thing to me is I just, hopefully I can clear my name and, and move forward in a positive direction.
Well, only 4 months ago, you won the state championship with your players, which is an incredible feat. And so a lot of people who are watching this, find it hard to believe. 4 months ago, you were crowned state championship and champions, and now you lose your job, and they're wondering if it could be this and this alone, or what else could have been going out there. I mean, obviously, we live in the time where issues are, especially racial issues, are treated very seriously, and there's a sensitivity to it. But there are a lot of people in this community who are wondering what more was at play here.
Well, looking at where we're at right now in Sarasota County, it really looks like, first off, I made a bad decision, and I think it was very poor timing and when that decision was made, especially with all the things going on at other schools. And, and maybe it's a good lesson for the kids, have to be careful what they do on social media, and maybe I'm going to be someone that they can look at and say, hey, look at what happened here to Coach Peacock here from, doing something irresponsible on social media.
Coach, do you want to coach high school football again? And if so, do you see that happening here on the Suncoast, or are you going to have to look outside the area?
Oh, I don't know. It looks pretty meek. Once you get labeled as what I've been labeled, and when it's on the internet, it's there. So I probably won't have another opportunity to coach football again.
Do you have a game plan and maybe reaching out to the community who, members of the community who may have been offended and trying to talk to them? Sometimes when people who are in the news like this, when they do that, they get public sentiment that would allow them to go on to their next, their second act.
Well, it's been very humbling the last couple of days, the amount of outreach I've received from the people. It's been very humbling to me, and I think the people that that know me know that not to be true. But no, I haven't reached out to anybody. I've like I said, today's probably the first I've been able to hold a conversation with somebody. So you're probably one of the first people I've been able to talk to for more than 2 or 3 seconds.
Coach, have you had the opportunity to address your players? And if so, or if not, what would you like to say to them?
I did address them. I addressed them on Wednesday before their practice, and I just let them know that, this is none of their faults. It's, I took responsibility for what happened to me, and I told them, you can't always control what happens in life, but you need one thing you can control is your attitude and your effort. They need to do the best job they can possibly do in the classroom and in the community and then on the football field. And I just told them I'm a grown person and I will be okay. I'll figure something out some way.
Okay, Coach John Peacock, thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you the best of luck.
Now your ABC7 First Alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Well, Casey Key webcam showing a beautiful day today out on the waters, and it looks as though the weekend is going to be pretty good as well. So if you have plans for the weekend, it's not going to be a problem as far as the weather goes. Just a little bit of a breeze now and again. Well, 75 degrees right now. We have sunshine, and the humidity not bad at all, 71%. Winds out of the north-northwest at 50. We had a weak cold front move through and didn't do a whole lot. We have the barometer now at 29.85. That is going to be rising as high pressure builds in. That frontal boundary is interacting with some moisture down to our south, but we're looking at pretty decent weather as high pressure is sprawling across the southeast now, keeping skies clear there. You can see that rain down to our south, and pretty big activity well off into the Atlantic right now, heading off toward the northeast. Current temps 75 in Sarasota, 73 now in Miami, and 79 in Jacksonville, 82 in Orlando. Evening planner, we're calling for fair skies, 69 degrees by 11 o'clock tonight, and looks like no problems. We'll see winds not all that strong. It'll be a little bit breezy on the beaches for Saturday, so boaters beware. We're talking about 10 to 15 knots at times, seas 2 to 3 feet, and looks like that wind will stay a little bit on the brisk side as well throughout the day on Sunday. No advisories for boaters. It's just going to be a little bit breezier than it has been. And we'll look for no chance for rain over the weekend. Big story, too. We have the regatta in Venice, and then we also have the big DeSoto parade. The Grand Parade, 200,000 people expected.
All I'm thinking is I have to turn my sprinkler system on.
Yeah, using the water, and then, yeah, it looks like no rain either next week. We'll talk more about that later.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, what did the president say in his interview on Fox and Friends?
That.
Looking for something fun to do on a Friday night? Then come to Music on Main, the first Friday of every month at Lakewood Ranch. Enjoy free live music, dancing, great food, and lots of fun for every family member, even the furry ones. Meet up with friends, enjoy activities for the kids, or make it a special date night. And be sure to stop by the ABC7 booth and say hello. Mark your calendars for Music on Main, first Friday of the month, 6 to 9 at Lakewood Ranch. Brought to you by ABC7 and these sponsors.
The following message is brought to you by Mesobook.com.
People who have been diagnosed with mesothelioma have many questions. How did I get this disease? What are my treatment options? How will this affect my loved ones? You need answers, which is why we offer a free book written by medical professionals who have treated mesothelioma.
Call toll-free at 1-800-777-1366 or go to Mesobook.com.
Thanks to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, what was once impossible is happening today for thousands of patients with blood cancer.
I live.
I live. I live. I live. I live. She lives.
Because of the research done by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in the battle against blood cancer.
If you had a chance to support the research that is saving lives, what would you do?
Many websites selling medication may look professional and legitimate, but the vast majority of sites selling prescription drugs are doing so illegally. Criminals use websites to sell counterfeit medications that may contain life-threatening toxins. Dot Pharmacy is a website verification program that helps you identify safe and trustworthy online pharmacies. Purchasing medicine online can be safe and easy. Just look for pharmacy to the right of the dot in website addresses.
Hey kids, come learn baseball from the pros. The Bradenton Marauders are hosting Baseball Camp on June 5th, 6th, and 7th at Lecom Park. Boys and girls ages 6 to 14 will learn the fundamentals of hitting, pitching, and fielding from Marauders coaches and players at Lecom Park. Your camp fee includes a t-shirt, lunch daily, and 1 ticket to the Marauders games on these nights. To sign up, go to BradentonMarauders.com by May 14th. Sponsored by ABC7, your Suncoast News. Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
President Trump picked up the phone yesterday morning and aired his grievances on national television. CNN's Jeannie Mose has a look.
Like a runaway train.
It's an absolute disgrace. And I've been told I'm not involved.
Okay,
It came out of the newspaper.
Mr. President.
I'd say that at speeches, remember?
The president's stream of consciousness went speeding down the track, but the president was unstoppable.
You know, a lot of people say, oh, it was close.
Right,
and
right.
oh, the unemployment picture is the best it's been. They're all fake news.
Well,
I
Mr.
heard that for so long. It's just CNN. You keep your sanity, and it works very well. But last night I did watch a liar leaker.
The Daily Show described it as when Grandpa's telling the same stories again and you can't get him off the phone. The co-hosts even tried to collectively interject.
Actually gave the questions.
Yeah, but don't worry about them.
I want to ask you.
But think of it.
Mr.
I think
President.
we're doing very well. Let's see what happens.
Okay, we're running out of time.
At least no one said.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Though maybe the host should have.
Let's talk about.
Do better than people think in the
Mr. President.
Because, you know, it's very.
Right.
The economy is so strong.
Finally, they resorted to the oldest trick in the book to get the president off the phone, telling him he's too busy to keep talking to them.
We could talk to you all day, but it looks like you have a million things to do. But I hope you could join us again.
The president had time to talk, but not to shop. On Melania's 48th birthday, he admitted,
Maybe I didn't get her so much.
flowers and a card.
You know, I'm very busy
At
to
this
be
point.
running out looking for president.
But who needs to run out for flowers?
Well, it turns out I've got a rose garden.
Still, maybe President Trump better ask his wife to.
Excuse me.
Jeannie Mose, CNN,
Excuse me.
New York.
In a moment, the former and perhaps most dynamic chair the Sarasota Democratic Party has ever had, the intellectual heart, you're laughing back there, the intellectual heart and soul of the Suncoast conservatives and the dean of political reporting in the Tampa Bay area, all waiting at the trapezoid.
Set your course for a waterfront lifestyle on Florida's last private island. Discover one particular harbor by Margaritaville. Nearby sugar sand beaches are as easy to find as the warm Florida sunshine. Waterfront residences from the high 400s overlook beautiful Anna Maria Sound. And a new marina with direct access to the Gulf of Mexico. Plus, incredible savings on move-in-ready homes. Come tour designer models today. Visit ophmintousa.com now.
Every time you purchase a fishing license or register your boat, you're helping to preserve our nation's coastlines, lakes, rivers, and streams, protecting memories for generations to come. Learn how your participation in boating and fishing can help the environment at takemefishing.org/conservation.
We answered the call of duty and left our homes to serve in far-off lands.
Now we answer another call, this time at home, in our own communities, to respond in times of chaos, to use our strength, our skills, and our experiences to bring hope amid devastation and destruction. Together, as a team of brothers and sisters, we're continuing our mission to make this country a little stronger and a little better each day. We are Team Rubicon.
I'll be right back.
Selfless service is the principle that guides Army National Guard soldiers to be ready whenever disaster strikes. They have a stake in the well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They train part-time to be ready to serve at all times. Selfless service, it's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more.
Welcome back. As the Washington Post reported today, this week was designed to be a triumphant one for President Trump. After all, he hosted his favorite foreign leader, the man he has repeatedly, we mean repeatedly, shown affection for, genuine affection for French President Emmanuel Macron at the White House. He watched and he took credit for the leaders of North and South Korea meeting for the first time and talking peace. But on the other hand, as the Post writes, it became another week in which the Trump administration was convulsed by chaos and contradiction. And joining us for more are Rita Ferrandino, the former chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Wendy March of the Tampa Bay Times. So, Rod, we want to get your reaction to that, because there were a lot of good things this week. 3 days of meetings with the French president. We're all seeing what's happening in terms of North and South Korea and the prospect of preventing a nuclear Korean peninsula. But then you have Fox and Friends. Then you have the VA designate secretary having to drop out. And folks like you think what?
Folks like me think that if you're looking at it from what impacts Americans and the world, this was a fantastic week. Right? I mean, North and South Korea actually talking, and you mentioned in your setup there that he took credit for it. Well, the South Korean president this morning gave him credit for it. So South Korea is crediting him for that. And I think you have to. This is a huge step in North and South Korea. It really is. And I don't think that we should look past the idea that President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama all kicked the can down the road. Trump walks in. He's got a big mouth, but he's carrying a big stick. He's used it around the world a few times. Kim Jong-un took notice. He's talking. We could actually see peace. This is monumental for the world, and it just completely should obfuscate anything on Fox and Friends or that sort of nonsense that the media loves to take a lot of time with that doesn't impact Americans. It just doesn't.
Fair enough.
Well, what happened on Fox and Friends, it was almost like he got up, ate his Wheaties, had 5 shots of espresso, and then for 35 minutes, he just went on and on and on. And what was really critical is what he did to his own case with Michael Cohen. I mean, 2 hours after that Fox and Friends interview, there was a federal prosecutors put into documents that what he had said during the Fox and Friends interview. And there was a lot of things that he said during that kind of crazy ramble that's going to have long-term effects. Including
what the president had to say about the Russia investigation and his own Justice Department. Let's take a look.
They have a witch hunt against the President of the United States going on. I've taken the position, and I don't have to take this position, and maybe I'll change, that I will not be involved with the Justice Department. I will wait till this is over. It's a total... it's all lies, and it's a horrible thing that's going on, a horrible thing. So I'm very disappointed in my Justice Department. But because of the fact that it's going on, and I think you'll understand this, I have decided that I won't be involved. I may change my mind at some point because what's going on is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace.
So, Wendy, on one hand, you have, as Rod's explained, really historic events when it comes to Korea and where we're at there. involving American national interest here. But then you have that, which looks like the president ranting and raving on national television.
Well, Alan, this is a repeated pattern that I've talked about on this show before. As soon as Trump gets some sort of movement, some sort of achievement, some sort of accomplishment in his administration, he tramples on it with a display of this kind. This is the reason that we don't see much of him. Trump has had, since the Republican convention that nominated him, a total of 3 solo press conferences. That's four. And now, of course, he's had others like the ones with Macron and Merkel this week, where you have the traditional appearance before the press of 2 leaders when they meet. But in terms of solo press conferences, no president in modern history has had anywhere near as few actual exposures to extemporaneous exposure to questioning as Donald Trump has, and what you saw was why.
All right, we are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on the week in Washington right after we check the First Alert weather, so stay with us.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it today at Sunset Maserati, Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Experience the Classical Music Celebration May 11th and 12th at the historic Sarasota Opera House. World-class musicians include guitar duo Charisma, currently touring with Andrea Bocelli. Tickets available online or by phone.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
You know, fortunately, this was my first job out of college, so I was able to come back home and work in my hometown. I wore 2 hats. I was sports director and I was a news anchor. I did that for a few years and then decided to go full-time into news. Well, I love our team here at ABC7. We have a great mix, and it really is a great mix of personalities, of experience that meshes really well into a really strong team. I'm Scott Dennis, and I'm here for you.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking a multimedia news producer with at least 2 years' experience writing for TV and digital news. Visit mysuncoast.com/job of the day to apply.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Our conversation on the week in Washington continues right after we get a check on the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A beautiful weekend in store for all of us here along the west coast of Florida as a result of a high pressure system moving in. And it will be just a little bit breezy for boaters out there. No advisories, though. And then as far as the week goes next week, get ready for summer, at least a summer feel without the afternoon storms. It's going to be approaching 90 degrees, I think, every day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Well, the long-range forecast, we'll take it from Sunday and we'll go into Monday, and you'll notice that the reds and oranges are starting to pop up a little bit more across much of the central U.S., all the way up into Minnesota, and then that shifts a little bit off to the east, all the way up to New York. Temperatures will be into the upper 70s there to near 80 degrees in Washington, and then we'll see highs here into the upper 80s on Wednesday to near 90 degrees. Dallas and to the places to the west in West Texas, they could approach 100. And no rain in sight. This big high-pressure ridge will continue to dominate the weather on Friday. A little bit of a cold front starts to slide down over the northeast, and we'll get some of that cooler air here I believe, by Sunday of next week. So it's going to be a long time before we get a chance for showers here and any kind of rain. Casey Key webcam, calm conditions out there today. Seas will be a little higher tomorrow, 2 to 3 foot seas. Expected a moderate chop. The winds will come down at times, but it should be a bit breezy to start the day off. 15 knots, subside a little bit during the midday, and then pick back up during the evening. Some rain around with that front. We missed any rain here. That moisture that you see here kind of worked its way up just in time for that front. Got close into Fort Myers, but that has since moved on. Bigger storms along the east coast, still starting to fire up just to the west of Fort Lauderdale, but nothing going on along the sun coast. And it'll stay that way too. We have the big Venice Regatta tomorrow. It looks like a nice breeze for the sailors, and also the parade. 200,000 people anticipated in Manatee County on Manatee Avenue beginning at 6:30 at the Manatee High School there. 75 degrees. We have fair skies and the humidity comfortable, 71%. Should be good fishing weather too. 81 the high today. That was a couple degrees below the average. We'll be into the low 60s too on Sunday morning. Enjoy that because it's going to go away too for a while in that cooler morning start. You can see some shower activity still pushing off to the east. No rain anticipated for us here, as I said, until maybe next Sunday, not this Sunday. It's been kind of a cloudy, gloomy week across the Northeast, all the way down to the Mid-Atlantic coast states. They had to deal with 2 storms there, but nothing going on over the central U.S., and that's what we're in store for, is that high-pressure ridge builds on in over the sun coast. For boaters tomorrow, seas will be running 2 to 3 feet with a light chop in the bays and inland waters. 7-day forecast shapes up to be nice tomorrow, 79 for your high, mid-80s on Sunday, and then we approach the 90-degree mark beginning Wednesday through Friday of next week. Alan will be back at the Trapezoid right after this. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Holly Robinson Pete.
And I'm Rodney Pete. And after 16 years in the NFL, it came as no surprise that knee surgery might be in my future.
And when the doctor said Rodney needed to lose weight before surgery, we knew that Lipozene could help him lose 4 times more weight. It's America's #1 weight loss supplement.
I've already lost 30 pounds in 4 pant sizes. I didn't need a prescription or meal plan.
I've lost 10 pounds, I have more energy, more stamina.
We eat our favorite foods and still lose 4 times more weight.
I'm very impressed with Rodney's weight loss. His blood pressure and cholesterol have really improved. I recommend Lipozene because it's made from the rare konjac root, which contains glucomannan, a very safe and effective weight loss supplement.
Lipozene has no harmful side effects. No caffeine, no jitters, no counting calories.
No cleanses.
No starved diets.
No boot camps.
Nothing in your lifestyle needs to change. Just add Lipozene.
In a clinical study, people were not asked to change their lifestyle and simply add Lipozene. As a result, they lost not just twice the weight, not 3 times, but they lost 4 times more weight just by adding Lipozene. And 78% of that weight loss was fat, not water, but fat.
Rodney and I guarantee that you will lose weight or your money back.
Can we say that?
Yep, guaranteed, or your money back. So get Lipozene and lose 4 times more weight.
Now you can lose 4 times more weight. Just add Lipozene for only $29.95. Call right now and we'll double your order for free and ship it free too. And for a limited time, we'll double the size of each bottle for free. So now you have 4 times the Lipozene for just $29.95. Plus, you'll get Metabowup Plus to help boost your energy and metabolism. But you must call. Call 800-379-2824, 800-379-2824, 800-379-2824.
My life motto is keep moving. And as hard as it was when my husband passed away, I knew I had to keep doing what I love. Oops, coming. But I needed help with my insurance, and that's what the NAIC provides. They have resources to help you and your family make the best decision, and they'll help you to keep moving forward, just like me.
Welcome back. We're talking about the week in Washington, and joining us for more are Rita Ferrandino, the former chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Wendy March of the Tampa Bay Times. We should keep talking about Korea because this has been a thorn in the side of every president since 1950. But Rod, let me start with you because I remember when Barack Obama was running for president and he suggested he would meet with somebody like a North Korean leader or a leader from Iran, and he was roundly criticized by both Republicans and including Hillary Clinton for even that suggestion. But why is this suddenly a good idea?
Okay, I can explain that. I keep getting this question all the time, and I explain that. Because at least a lot of people, such as myself, maybe Hillary too, saw Barack Obama as somebody who was weak on foreign affairs, and he led weakly. And having him negotiate for the United States with foreign leaders such as that, with a tyrant, from a position of weakness could end up in disaster. Take the Iran situation with the nuclear pact. But when you have Trump, who comes in with a big stick, clearly is a strong leader on foreign stage in that respect. Clearly the tyrants have, he's got the attention of them, from Russia to Iran to ISIS, which has gone to North Korea. That's a whole different sort of person meeting with them in that case. They're meeting because they feel like they're dragged in. Whereas with Obama, it wouldn't have been that situation.
Rita, do Democrats give Trump credit for getting this far?
Absolutely not. What we have in Korea is the fact that we've got North Korea and South Korea diplomatically meeting, and it is historic, and it's very hopeful. And I think that, you know, Donald Trump sitting there taking a victory lap is, uncalled for.
The South Koreans gave him that victory lap. It was their foreign minister that said that this is because of him.
Wendy, I can't help but also remember it took Nixon to go to China, but doing so did not save him from Watergate.
No, and it also didn't make China our ally. The Korea thing, I'm sorry, Rod, but it's an unhatched chicken. There have been numerous agreements of this kind before. They all collapsed. In some cases, the United States was blamed for the collapse of those agreements. This is at least the third major denuclearization agreement, and this isn't even an agreement yet. There are lots of outs and loopholes. The statement that the two Koreas put out refers to removing all nuclear weapons from the peninsula. Well, that would mean U.S. nuclear weapons also. This is something that's never been acceptable. The statement also says that they will seek three-party or four-party talks toward ending the war. It does not end the war. It says they'll seek three- or four-party talks. Well, one of China's conditions for ending the war historically has been removal of all U.S. troops. Is Donald Trump going to agree to that? But if he doesn't, then why is he sending out a tweet saying the Korean War is over?
Rod? So past presidents, he's right, sir. We've had past presidents that have negotiated some sort of pause in the North Korean nuclear program, basically by bribing him, by giving his starving people some food for a while. This is what we've done. This is what Clinton did, and Clinton said we had it. It was all taken care of. I believe Bush did it. I believe Obama did it. I think they've all done that. But we can't do that anymore. He has not only nuclear weapons, he has advanced nuclear weapons, and he has advanced missiles. We can't do that anymore. So Trump sends aircraft carriers. That's different than saying, we'll give you some food for a while. This is a whole different kind of negotiation. I'm not saying that it couldn't fall apart and come to nothing. I'm not saying that at all. Sure could, because it's Kim Jong-un, right? But I'm saying this is a whole different dynamic than previous ones.
All right, two things I want to get to, including that the House Intelligence Committee released its report today saying, and we were saying the Republicans on the House Intelligence Committee released their report saying there was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, and they disagree with the intelligence community as a whole that Russia was helping the Trump campaign win this election. Rita, your take on that?
Well, first of all, I think that we know that this is a very partisan, completely partisan report, and it is in conflict. And I'd love to hear what Wendy has to say about it, because you've been reporting on this, haven't you?
Well, no, not specifically. I will just say that I will trust the CIA, the FBI, and the NSA over a group of Republican congressmen.
And Ron, let me ask you this, because this comes out on the day where that Russian lawyer who met with the Trumps and the Trump Tower, it comes out today that she in fact was an informant for Russian intelligence. So it seems on face value there was a lot of work to be done there at the House Intelligence Committee that went away for some reason.
Well, the House Intelligence Committee has actually uncovered a lot that hadn't been uncovered. I mean, I think the whole dossier thing came out because of them. The stuff that Nunes has done and that he's required, a lot of stuff has come out because of the work they've done. Of course, it's totally partisan. Everything in Washington is totally partisan.
But it was also
That's a
Tom
given.
Rooney, our congressman here on the Suncoast, who said that the committee itself has no credibility because of everybody went to their political partisan corners, and he basically said that there was no credibility in terms of the output.
So two things there. It takes two to want to come together, and neither side did, so that's on both. Tom Rooney's stepping down because he doesn't like Trump, he doesn't like what's going on in Washington, doesn't like anything, so he's washing his hands of it and moving on, and that's fine. Okay. But I think you need to remember on this that not all the American people have this total blind trust anymore in the CIA, and certainly not the FBI. And if we don't think that there's been criminality going on in the FBI from what we've seen now, then a certain part of America is not paying attention, because clearly with McCabe, there has been.
I really wanted to move on to something else, but Rita, let me give you a shot.
It's always fun when you're with Rod, because he certainly has all the Republican talking points down. So
I am a Republican.
Yeah, so what's the next?
Okay. It came out this week that Patrick Murphy, the former congressman from West Palm Beach, who we remember ran for U.S. Senate in 2016, and David Jolly, the former congressman from Pinellas County, are considering, and they may be polling about whether to run jointly for governor and lieutenant governor. Patrick Murphy, the Democrat, running in the Democratic Party primary, and the Republican David Jolly as his running mate. What do you think of that?
Well, I've got to say, Alan, what I think of it is it's a sign that none of the Democratic candidates for governor has really caught fire. And that's the only reason that this balloon would even be considered seriously.
But Rita, be that as it may, there is also a hunger among Florida residents in general to get past Democrats and Republicans. A ticket of a Democrat and Republican, I would imagine that would be very appealing for a lot of people.
Well, I think Democrats are very focused on winning in November, and they're going to back the candidate who can win in November. And I think with the Patrick Murphy Jolly trial balloon that was sent out, I know Patrick well. I did not get a call from him saying, hey, this is something I'm going to do. Will you support me? So I'm not even sure how much it has, other than they sent out a trial balloon.
Rod, don't you think that there are a lot of people who are out there who look at both the Republicans who are running are extreme conservatives, and you may say that the Democrats are extreme liberals. Here's a team that may be more appealing because they're right down the center.
Yeah, two thoughts. I don't think that all the Republicans are extreme liberals, for one thing. Number two, putting a Democrat at the top of the ticket, kind of an empty suit like Patrick Murphy, no matter how great the Republican was, I guarantee you 90% of Floridians can't even name the lieutenant governor. So that position has no real power. There's no upside to Republicans in voting for that.
I'm glad we were able to get to this. We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment, so stay tuned.
I used to dread getting up and going to work.
I was done with the corporate grind.
I was tired of being a starving artist.
And I started looking around for a business that I believed in, and I kind of wanted to do something a little more green.
My SCORE mentor helped me take the first step.
He helped me create a business plan and helped me implement it.
They really taught me how to think big.
SCORE helped me to make the unimaginable possible.
All for free. I'm here because of SCORE.
I'm here because of SCORE.
Get your free business mentor at score.org.
I'll be right back.
Hi. You think you're probably sober?
Yeah.
But you're thinking about taking the back roads home, just in case. If you're probably sober, then why would you do that? Good choice.
Probably okay isn't okay. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
That's a full glass of wine. I'll be chatting you later.
You want a Maserati, but you need an SUV. Why not have both? Levante, the Maserati of SUVs.
Experience it today at Sunset Maserati, Alfa Romeo of Sarasota.
Dear parents, it's time for a pop quiz. What's the best kind of play for kids? Play that makes us think? Or helps us pretend? Or teaches us rules? Or to be creative? Actually, every kind of play is important because different kinds of play give us different kinds of skills. Help us mix up the ways we play. Okay, class dismissed. Now go play.
Enjoy some of the best Suncoast restaurants on me. Just go to mysuncoast.com/dining, sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already, and you can win a $50 gift card to a restaurant in our area. We'll pick a winner each week, so go on our website and sign up now.
And our guests join us right now for final thoughts, and I haven't told any of them what this is about, but Wendy, we're going to start with you. According to a new Quinnipiac poll, a majority of Republicans see the news media as the enemy. 51% of a majority of Republicans see the news media as the enemy of the people, compared with 37% of them who view the media as an important part of democracy. By contrast, 91% of Democrats and 70% of independents see the media as an important part of democracy.
Okay, first of all, what's the media? This table is part of it. Are we enemies of the people? Rita, Rod, you? Are we enemies of the people? I hope that what's going on here is that this line of thinking is a fad that's suddenly been popularized by somebody in the White House, and it's the kind of publicity-driven thinking that will fade when the publicity and the source of it fades. I hope so, but it's also, to me, an example of an attack on the institutions that keep our democracy functioning.
Rod, before you were the intellectual heartbeat of the conservative community, you were a longtime journalist.
I was.
And a good one.
Well, thank you.
And many would consider you still a reporter.
Yeah, thank you. In some sense, yes. And I think, though, I can understand where that's coming from, because in the newsrooms I worked in, I was a very lone conservative, and I would call Republicans locally. This will crack you up, but I was labeled consistently as part of the liberal media, right? But let me tell you, the issue is with your setup piece there, when you had the Fox and Friends things, you had the train wreck picture, you had the quote from The Daily Show. That's the sort of thing that's lumped in with journalism, and it probably drives Wendy March crazy.
Last word.
Good one.
I mean, 91% of Democrats think that the media has an important role, but are we the enemy of the American people?
So I would definitely say that most of the people in my world respect the free press and want to see it and the institutions continue to be supported.
All right, we have to leave it there, but before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show about the firing of Venice High School's football coach John Peacock. Just months after he led their team to the state championship, Peacock was fired for liking a tweet out of one of his players. The tweet was viewed as racist, which led to his firing. We went to Facebook for your thoughts, and James says, I think everyone needs to toughen up just a little bit. Society has gotten too thin-skinned in the last decade or so. Laura says shouldn't have been involved with his students on social media to begin with, and then he would never have been in this mess. Kenya says obviously there is more to this story, and this was the last straw. He should be thankful he still has his teaching job. It's not all about winning football games. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation on tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. We want to thank our guests for being here tonight. Rita Ferrandino, of the former chair of the Sarasota Democratic Party, Rod Thompson of the RevolutionaryAct.com, and Wendy March of the Tampa Bay Times. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather, plus President Trump's response to the possible end of the Korean War. Stay with us.
Did you know you could get life insurance for less than 32 cents a day? With guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TrueStage, you can get up to $25,000 in protection with a single phone call, and you cannot be turned down for any reason. Even if you have health problems or are living on a fixed income, guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance policies could work for you, with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. TrueStage can help free your family from immediate financial stress when you're gone.
Utility bills, mortgages, car payments, those are a lot of things that can add up pretty fast.
My mom didn't have life insurance and the cost all fell on me. And that's expensive. We're still paying for that.
Yeah, we're still paying for that.
Call 1-800-218-4991. Now, in one phone call, you can help prepare your family with protection amounts up to $25,000. There are no medical tests or health questions. And remember, you cannot be turned down for any reason. In fact, TruStage policies are already protecting over 18 million Americans. And rates are designed to be affordable, starting at less than 32 cents a day. That's as low as $9.40 a month. Plus, your price will never increase and your benefit will never decrease.
When I leave, everything will be taken care of for them.
Call 1-800-218-4991 now for a free, no-obligation quote. TruStage offers plans to fit your budget with prices starting at less than 32 cents a day. Help protect your family from immediate financial burdens after you're gone with guaranteed acceptance whole life insurance through TruStage. Call 1-800-218-4991 now.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but right now let's get a final check on our first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Well, Ellen, I'll tell you, this shot is spectacular from James White. He tells me he can't get him into me fast enough because the sun is staying up too long. So this is yesterday's. We're going to have just as nice sunset tonight, though. Send your pictures into PIX, P-I-X, at mysuncoast.com. Thanks, James. Anna Maria webcam showing calm conditions in Bimini Bay today and out in the Gulf. For the most part, there was a little bit of a chop out there, but I think more wind tomorrow. No advisories, but notice the seas will be a little bit higher, 2 to 3 foot seas anticipated. Well, the Titan radar picture, wow, a lot of rain down to our south. That's that frontal boundary that came down. On top of that, a little disturbance and some moisture moving in at the same time brought some very heavy rainfall just to our south and east. That rain still occurring across parts of just near just to the west of Fort Lauderdale, pushing off to the northeast. Some West Palm Beach get hammered today with some heavy rainfall for a short period of time. No rain around here. Beautiful conditions out there. In the Gulf of Mexico, 75 degrees right now, and the humidity pretty nice, 71%. A pleasant evening, a nice evening for a walk, and you can see what's happening tomorrow. More showers down to our south just in the morning, and that quickly exits stage right, and the high pressure builds in, and that means beautiful weather for Saturday and Sunday too, so no problems weather-wise. No problems really over the central U.S., and that's pretty much what we're in store for. The high pressure ridge that's dominating the weather here slips down into the southeast as this area of low pressure heads east. And so we're going to get into this reverse pattern. We had a trough of low pressure in the eastern third of the U.S. over the past week. It now is replaced by a ridge. And as far as the satellite and radar picture goes, heavy rainfall over the northern and central Bahamas right now. That front continues to sag southward. Tomorrow, as I said, looking at a few more showers down near the Keys. And then that front turns into a stationary front. This high continues to dominate our weather right through next week, too. It's not giving way. A bit breezy tomorrow. Winds will start off at 15 knots, go to 5 to 10 midday, then back to 15 in the afternoon. So kind of a reversal there. Winds out of the northwest at first and seas running 2 to 3 feet. As far as the forecast goes, no problems with rain running in through the next 7 days. It stays quiet. 86 for your high there on Sunday, then mid 80s to upper 80s all the way through next week. Big DeSoto Grand Parade tomorrow, 6:30 start. Looks good at kickoff, 80 degrees there when it starts. By the time it ends, into the mid 70s. Alan will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Growing up, my mom was afraid of the water, something she did not want me to feel.
So I enrolled Missy in swim lessons.
It changed my life.
Missy Franklin.
And now you can do the same for someone that you love.
There's nothing more precious than your child's well-being.
So act now, before it's too late.
Make us fly! I'm glad I did.
Thanks, Mom. Visit usaswimmingfoundation.org to find, get, or give a swim lesson.
To be able to just get my son here and not think about how we will pay for it, it just takes so much weight off of my family. St. Jude allowed me to focus on being a mom to Bryce. And sometimes I'm just in awe of the impact St. Jude has, not only on this community, but the world.
They are the greatest fighting force the world has ever seen. But what does it take to bridge the distance and keep them connected to family, home, and country? What does it take to strengthen our service members so they can be the greatest force for good in the world? It takes a force. Be a force behind the forces. Give today at force.uso.org.
Each day, researchers make discoveries that bring us closer to the moment when all cancer patients can become survivors. Their progress is made possible with the help of clinical trials. Clinical trials are the brightest torch researchers have to light their way towards better treatments. And if you've been diagnosed with cancer, they may be your brightest ray of hope. Speak with your doctor and visit standuptocancer.org/clinical trials to learn more. Together, we can stand up for all of us.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Checking primetime headlines, President Trump praising the South Koreans and the North for that historic summit viewed live around the world. ABC's Serena Marshall has the latest from Washington.
An optimistic President Trump.
Things have changed very radically from a few months ago. You know, the name calling and a lot of other things.
Hopeful the deal made between the two Koreas will mean big changes for the world. The overnight 12-hour summit started with a single handshake and then a step. Kim Jong-un becoming the first leader of his nation to enter the South. And while the meeting was big on symbolism, and ended with a remarkable joint agreement to reach a peace treaty by the end of the year that would bring a formal end to the Korean War, denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, and increase economic and cultural ties, it's not the first time the two agreed to such progress. They struck a similar deal to try and end the war in 1991. And it was just over a decade ago, in 2005, that 5 other countries, including the U.S. and South Korea, struck a deal with Pyongyang to end their nuclear efforts for aid. But just a year later, the North tested their first nuclear weapon.
There's been such a tortured experience of trying to work with North Korea, but this is a very strong start.
But President Trump promised this time will be different.
The United States has been played beautifully like a fiddle because you had a different kind of a leader. We're not going to be played, okay? We're going to hopefully make a deal. If we don't, that's fine.
President Trump also praised Chinese President Xi for helping with their maximum pressure campaign, but added they plan to continue that approach until there is full denuclearization by North Korea. He did say they have narrowed the possible site for their summit down to 2 locations. Serena Marshall, ABC News, Washington.
And that's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us and have a great weekend.